the organizer for organizing this wonderful event. So today we are going to discuss about that extensibility options for Dynamics 365 apps. So we will start from the history of Dynamics CRM, and we will see that from where this term started, and what is now we have, and what are the different options that we have for the technical person, or the citizen developer, or the functional consultant. So yeah, let's before jumping into the agenda, just want to have a quick introduction about myself. So I'm principal consultant at Himbap, and I have more than 12 years of experience in Dynamics CRM and Dynamics 365. I'm 8-time MVP from, so I was the first MVP from India for Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and I'm also 6-time C# Corner MVP. I have authored 3 books. For one book is for Dynamics CRM 2011 and then 2015, and the another one which is available for the promotion code today, that implementing Dynamics 365 customer engagement. Okay, so let's have a quick look of the agenda today. So I have divided basically here, as I said, we will start from the introduction. So we'll see from the CRM history and from where it started, what were the feature that was released on that. We will discuss what are the common terms we use when we talk about the customizing CRM or extending CRM. So what are the common terms that is used commonly and what they means. Then we will see what are the extensible point open for us, where we can go ahead and extend those points, and what are the different options for us. And finally, then we know that what are the common terms, and we know that what are the extension point that we have. Then we'll see like who can do this. Okay, whether a functional consultant can do it or a technical consultant can do it. And then we will have a quick demo. I will show you a quick demo on the technical side of this, or the business side of like the a functional consultant or a business user can do that. And then I will show you some other quick demo on that. So, and we will also have a quick question and answer if you have any questions. So just feel free to discuss that. So now let's have a quick look. So this is the history of Dynamics CRM when it get started, and now we are on the 365. So it started in Jan 2003. That was the first version of Dynamics CRM was released. It was like CRM application that was known as CRM application. So it has the basic features of storing the customer data with the allowing them to store their activity and announcement. So all that. So it was very basic. So there was no extension point. So you cannot modify anything. So that was just that application. Okay, and the next version also continued the same. So 1.2, that was also not very much extendable, and there was not much feature on that. Dynamics 3.0 was the first, we can say, the milestone here for the Dynamics CRM, when Microsoft branded this CRM application as a Microsoft Dynamics CRM in 2005. Okay, that time they allowed to extend the capability of Dynamics CRM, writing the custom code. At that time, we used to call it call out. Okay, so this was like compared to the earlier version. Yes, of course, there was new features on that which was not present in the earlier version, but still this was missing a lot of features which is required for the business. So I remember this was the first version when I started working with Dynamics CRM. I remember my first project, we did a web application, and we integrated the web application with the CRM 3.0, and we implemented the duplicate detection. So we were basically looking for that if this record already exists in CRM database or not. So there was no duplicate detection feature in the 3.0. Okay, but yes, they from that point they started us, they allowed us to extend the capability by writing our custom code for Dynamics CRM. The next version that came on the another was the 4.0. That was that brought some new features like duplicate detection. They allowed the custom workflow activities, the office integration, reporting that improved, import wizards, and there was a report wizard also introduced during that time only. And this version also provided some more extensive features to us, and also allowed us to write the custom workflow activity that was not present in the 3.0. Okay, and during that time that this specific term also start Microsoft introduced this XRM, where basically Microsoft started branding CRM application as a XRM application, which means that you can use that CRM platform, the capability of CRM platform, to build any domain specific application apart from just traditional sales or marketing or service application. Okay, so for example, if you are working on hospital, or you are working on school, or you are working on any cafe, so you can build that application utilizing the out of the box capabilities of the CRM platform. So because CRM platform provide some of the basic feature that is required by every application. So for example, if we count very simple like user management, right? So every application need the user management. Every application needs some kind of security management. Every application needs some kind of reporting management. So we had that out of the box report, and that report wizard was also there that you can go ahead and customize that if the that is not fulfilling your requirement. So office integration, they introduce, so that if you want to integrate with the office product, you can do that. So those kind of things are introduced in the 4.0. Okay, so from there, this that was the new another milestone on the extensibility of that this we were able to utilize the CRM platform to build the different domain applications. Okay, and then this all to that, now we are talking about the technical point of view, where we are writing basically code for that extending the capability of dynamic CRM. After that, we got this 2011, and they got it was a drastic change on from the UI point of view. So they changed the complete UI of the CRM application. Okay, so if they got that dashboard introduced, that they introduce every entity, or the every module that we used to have that their own dashboard. They introduce the SharePoint integration. So we can say that they introduce some more XRM capabilities, so to make it more strong platform, so that you can build application on this platform, and you could utilize these integration application as well. Okay, and from this point, they also allowed to integrate that CRM with the another their products. So for example, the ERP integrations, all those that were introduced during that time only. Okay, so again, this was the thing that still this was like the we are talking about the technical things. If you want to extend the capability of that, you have to write the code. Okay, still that was the thing here. Yes, some of the features like SharePoint integration was out of the box. So you just set up this configure it, and you will be able to do that integration. And then in the 2013, they started introducing new features for the business users. So for the business user, what I mean here is that they started introducing such features where we don't need any technical person. Okay, you don't need a person who know how to code. Instead, any person who don't know how to code can modify the CRM, and they can extend the capability of CRM. So they introduce business rules. Okay, so earlier, before this, we used to write custom JavaScripts. Okay, if you want to do any kind of form validations, for example, if you want to hide or show the fields, or you want to populate some of the fields, or lock or unlock that field, you have to write the code before this, right? But now they introduce on the business rules, they also introduce the synchronous workflows. Earlier, we just had the asynchronous workflows, means if you want to run something on the background, and if you want to trigger it on demand at that present, you have to write the code, right? But the synchronous workflow also allow us to write that design our workflow that will immediately fire, and you will get the response immediately. So it also now bypass the writing code for the requirement that if you want to run some logic at that point, you need to write the code. So that is no more. Now, if you need, you can go ahead and write the synchronous workflows. Okay. They also introduce the business process flow where you can see that what are the different stages of your record. So if you are working with the, for example, if you are working with your sales, so you can see that at what stage your lead is right now. Okay. And if you are from the customer service department, you can see that, what stage your case is right now. So what is the resolution process, how it's going on. So those thing can be captured on the business process flow. Okay, so now after 2013, so they started, adding some more features, which is, I will say, the business specific, business user specific features, or the features which can, a functional consultant easily can do those things. Okay. And then it continued on that 16, and now we know that we have Dynamics 365, which is the whole a very strong platform, and now part of very bigger family, and provides the complete power platform ecosystem for us. Okay, so now let's have a quick look on the how much it changed. So this is the screenshot of the Dynamics CRM 3.0. So you can see that how was the navigation there, how was the charting, and now all those things it was looking there. And now on the right hand side we have the Dynamics 365. Okay, so this how drastically it changed from the UI and from the feature set of everything. So it was a complete change and lots of improvement from the platform side, from the different users. So we got a lot of things, right? And now we know that now Dynamics is part of a bigger family, and it it all comes into the umbrella of Dynamics 365. So now let's talk about the Dynamics 365 CE. So earlier we know that before that earlier we used to have different modules, but now they have introduce different apps for us. So we have a different app for the different functionality. For example, if you are working with the sales, you can utilize the sales apps. In the sales app also we have different versions, right? So you have sales professional or sales enterprise. And if you are somebody from the marketing department, you can utilize the marketing capability from using the marketing app for Dynamics 365. Okay, and similarly we have the customer service. So if you from the customer service, and you work with any service company who provides support for their customers. So if they let's say for example you are a product based company, or maybe you are providing support for some company, and if there are some customer facing some issue, they can report to you, and you can use customer service app and create the case, and you can follow that all the case resolution process, and everything will be recorded into the app. And you have different features that is there that can help you to automate your activities. So it will be all the manual effort will be decreased here, right? And we have the field service app. If basically, if you want to provide the service support on the customer door, so you can use the field service where you can have, your field service, technician can go to the customer location. They can fix their whatever problem they're, having, and you can also integrate it with the AI features, and you can also, identify, like if you are using sensors, so you can, get the notification if some device is, going to have some issue. So that can be easily, you can fix it before the time, right? We have project service automation where you can handle all of your project management part of this app. So you can like starting from the planning to that implementing, resources and budgeting, everything can be handled on the project service from that of the Dynamics 365, right? And now, apart from this CRM side, we also have other application that comes from the ERP side. So, for example, we have the finance. If you are, working with the finance, industry, and you want to have some software or application which can handle the financial, transaction easily, so you can utilize the finance applications. We have the talent app, which is basically the resource onboarding application. And then we have the supply chain management, which help you to for the inventory management. So if you are an enterprise level company and you want to manage your inventory, you can utilize the supply chain management app, right? The another one is the business central. So if you, let's say for example, if you're a small company and you have a small or mid-sized company, so you can utilize this business central. And all of these apps that we have is easily integratable. We can easily integrate to one other. Okay, so some of them provide out of the box integration, some of the you need to have some kind of connector, or you need to build some custom solutions, or you can utilize existing apps into the market to integrate them, right? Now these all the Dynamics 365 app, now we know that now the Dynamics 360 is basically part of the Power Platform. Okay, so when now it become the part of the Power Platform added some more features to this ecosystem, and now our ecosystem added some of the other features, like we have Power BI that is a part of the Power Platform and can be easily integrated and can be used for any of this customers CRM apps that we have. Okay, we can build rich reports, rich dashboards, and that can be deployed on that. We have Power Apps that allow you to build low code, no code, within the couple of just a matter of time. Okay, sorry, I think something happened. Okay, so you can build using the Power App. You can build low code, no code apps. You can build Canvas app. You can build model driven app, and then you have the Power Portal that can be built using the Power App. Another very important app that we have is the Power Automate, that is really highly used app that is a part of the platform that we use for all these apps. So we will have a demo, and I will show you this demo on the for the Power App, how it is Power Platform that for this Dynamic CRM apps. And the another one we have Power Virtual Agent, which is basically if you want to build some kind of application where chatbot application that can be used as a Power Virtual Agent. It help you to build those kind of applications. Okay, now in the C you have the right hand side, we have the data connector. So as I said that these all the systems, all the apps that we have is easily integrated with one another, or we can easily integrate with the other applications as well. So we have hundreds of connectors available as a part of the platform, and that is shared by all that application that we have here. Okay, we have the Power AI builder capabilities. We have different models. Based on the models, you can design your AI models, and then from that you can utilize the AI capability of the Power Platform. And all that application that we have is that data of all these applications are basically stored in the Dataverse. So right, so that is the common data service, and recently it is renamed as the Dataverse. So all these things becomes now and forms a Power Platform ecosystem, which help you to build a very power applications and allows you to extend the capability of Dynamic CRM. Okay, so that's what we have from the Dynamics 365 website. Now let's say when we talk about this, changing the behavior of Dynamic CRM. Okay, so we have some common terms that we use. The first one is the configuration. When we talk about the configuration, which means that we are going to configure some step which is part of the Dynamics CRM application or Dynamics 365 customer engagement application. So you will be using that app. And from the app interface, you will be having some of the settings. So for example, you have system settings where you can do the different kind of system settings. For example, you can do the number formatting. You can do that email, email settings from there. You can have that, plugin exception settings are there. So there are different settings and enabling or disabling features that can be done from the system settings. Security settings, that is there where we can configure that users, we can configure security role, we can configure different things like field level securities. So everything is there, that is part of the security settings. Email configuration, if you want to integrate set up that email integration. So every application or every CRM implementation that is required this kind of a feature. So you can do that email integration and send back and forth the emails from CRM. We have the document management, which allow you to do that SharePoint integration out of the box. You just need to do in the previous session, Prabhu explained how you can do that. So you just have some couple of steps that you need to configure, and you are ready for using the SharePoint, with as a part of the customer engagement. The another, we have the data management. So these are the example of the configurations. Okay, you just need to go and just select or enable or disable features, and then you are done. Okay, the next term that we use, the customize. The customize is again the same thing, like when we are using some tool which is part of the application itself and doing those changes. That's what we call customize. So for example, we have the schema changes. So schema changes means if you want to create some kind of entity, or you want to modify existing entity or table, now we call it table, and if you want to add some new attributes, so those kind of thing we consider in as a part of the customization, and we are doing that schema changes. Okay, we have the UI changes. For example, if you want to do some kind of sitemap changes or navigation changes that you are doing for your CRM application, or you want to change the theme of your application that based on the customer requirement, maybe you want to apply the logo of your customers. Okay, so those kind of thing that comes into these changes. The other options that we have is the dashboard, charts and reports, everything that can be built from the CRM itself. You can have the in the customer engagement, we have the tools. We can go ahead and design your dashboards. We can design the simple dashboard, and most of the time that fulfill all of your requirement. But of course, if that is cannot be done, we have other ways to do that. Okay, so similarly we have charts and reports. We have different charts option. We have different category where we can go ahead and change and create your chart depending on the requirement. And every customer engagement app that you will see, there are lots of default reports available. Okay, which mostly built on the generic requirement, while they Microsoft build those keeping the generic requirement in mind. But you can also go ahead and create your own report by running the report wizard. So you don't need to write any code. Simple reports can be easily built within the as a part of the customer engagement. Then we have the processes. We have different processes that basically we have the business process flow. We have workflows that we can design from there. So that is over there, and we have the business rule that is also, that all comes into the category of the customization. So we are creating the flow. We are creating the Canvas app. That is also part of this. We are utilizing the Power Platform capability. So that all things we call it customize. The third one that we have is that extending. That extending means that you want to change the behavior of CRM application. You also change the behavior of application using the terms, right? But here you utilize the tools which is part of that application already. You are not going out of the CRM to build those things. But these are when we are calling it extending, means we are going to write the scripting, and we are going out of CRM and writing the script there. Of course, you can use that, scripting. You can write it there, but that's not a best practice. You should always do that on that, intelligent tool where like the Visual Studio or something, where you write that scripting and then upload those scripting into Dynamics. You have options to write your custom plugins and actions and custom workflows and Azure plugins and integration. So all these that comes into the extending part. Okay, so these are basically the common terms that we have for the Dynamics 365. So again, the config where you're just doing this on off customizing, you are doing some kind of changes, but still you are using the tools which is part of your application. Extending, you are going outside that application and you are utilizing other tools to build those kind of extensions. So whether it's a plugin or Azure integration or any custom PCF controls. So those kind of things that we have is the common term. Okay, now we know that these are the common term that available. So let's see what are the extension point that we have. So these are the basically extension point that is available for the Dynamics 365. So if you are already working with the Dynamics CRM, so you might have seen this image before, but using the different structure and things. But most of the things here is that you can see that gear sign. So we have different components here, and some of the component have these gear sign. Okay, wherever we have the gear sign, it means that those component we can modify, we can do some kind of extension in that. Okay, so for example, we have the metadata and databases. So here you see we cannot access or do any changes directly on the database of the customer engagement. Okay, and we are talking about the CRM online. Okay, you don't have access to that, but of course if you are working with the on-prem, you have that access to, if there is no technically it is possible, you can go ahead and you can do the changes, but that is not supported for the Dynamics CRM. Okay, so we have different components here. The first component that we here is a business entity component, where we can go ahead and create our custom entities and modify that existing entities, as I said. And then we have that our process logic, that we can write our process synchronous or asynchronous way, so depending on the requirement. So if you want to run your whatever logic that you are writing, and whatever problem that you are solving, that how you want to do that. So if you let's take an example, that there is something that you want to send some thousand of emails, or maybe there are hundreds of email that you want to send. Okay, you can use the process which can run on the background, and you can use asynchronous process. So there is no point of using synchronous process on that. So those kind of things is there. And we have this plugins, and in the plugins we have different types, like what plugin you are writing, that is pre or post. So we'll discuss this in the later on slides. And we have the custom workflow assembly. So we have basically out of the box workflow. It provides different steps to us, very generic, and most of the time our requirement can be fulfilled from there. But if that is not possible, you are you have option, and you can go ahead and you can write your custom workflow, and that can be registered as a part of the Dynamics 365 platform, and that can fulfill your requirement, right? And then we have here, we have the set of services at Dynamics 365 provide a set of services which allow us to interact with their application data, right? And then we have the front end, and the front end, you can see here we have different devices which we can use to access the Dynamics 365. And we have different options, that is from the UI side, which we can modify. We can modify, like, or, if you're writing client scripting and ribbon changes or sitemap changes, that comes into the UI changes. Then we have here the reporting part, and where we can, as I said, like if you want to build the custom dashboard and report, those kind of thing is here, that you can go ahead and extend these things from there. The another thing that we have, that integrated applications. As CRM provides such a very rich web API support, you can integrate CRM with any third-party applications. You can write your extensions, or now it's very easy. If you are, as I said, that a Power Platform contains hundreds of connectors that can easily help you to integrate, with the different application. But earlier, for every application integration, you have to write the code, right? But now we can use the connectors, and we can easily integrate our application with that application. So hundreds of connector. If there is some connector that is not fulfilling your requirement, of course, you can go ahead and you can write your own custom connector, and you can publish it so that others can use it. Okay. So this is the extension points. These are the extension point that we have. So let's discuss these, some of them, So first, like said, that business entity. So we have a set of out of the box entity that is a part of the common data model. So that is generic from the different applications, and which is part of the Dynamics 365 family. You can, but if you required, you can go ahead and you can create your custom entity, right? So there are lots of out of the box entities there. Now, I'm sorry here, because I'm just like habitual of saying it, but now we don't call them entity anymore. We call them tables. Okay, so now we have this we have different tables that is there out of the box, but if you want, you can go ahead and you can create your custom table, and similarly you can create your custom columns into the table, which is we call it earlier, we used to call it fields. So we have different data types available to store the different type of data. So we have numbers, we have decimals, currency, and date times. We have booleans and option set. So there are different. These are the some of the example, but we have more than that. When we have these tables, you know, of course, when we are working with any complex requirement, we always want to integrate one table with another table. So we have different options to integrate that tables. We can use different type of relations. We can use one to n, and we can reverse like n to one automatically, and then we have that many to many relationship as well. So these type of extensions is possible as a part of the customer engagement applications. Processes, we have different categories on the processes. The first one is the business process flow, which basically guide the user, as I said earlier, that it help you to understand what is the current stage of your entity record, or what is the stage of your record. Okay, depending on that. So for example, if you are working with the sales and you created a lead, and you may have different stages on the lead, like by capturing the basic information, and then doing the follow up with the customer and getting some more requirement on that, what they want and what type of product they want, those kind of things. So that comes into the process flow. So it helps you to see that you, by seeing the process flow, you can understand, okay, at what level this lead is right now, or the opportunity, what is the status of your opportunity, when you're going to won it, or you're going to lost it. So that kind of situation, the kind of field values can easily tell you that. Okay, so similarly for the case resolution process as well. We have business rules, which is basically for easily we can go ahead and apply the rules, and any business user or any functional consultant can do that. You don't need to write any single line of code, just drag and drop, and easily you can configure, right? So these are the all the things that is available for the citizen developer. Okay, now we have the new term that we use, citizen developers. Workflow, like we can create different type of workflows. We can create asynchronous workflow or synchronous workflow, depending on the time or and the requirement. If you want to show some kind of error to the user, you can also use the real-time workflow and show that error to the user, right? Depending on if you have some the steps that you can utilize, the out-of-the-box steps. But of course, you can write your code and extend those. Common example that we have is like sending the emails and creating records and updating records. Now this is like the workflow is coming, since we saw that since when we are using this workflows, but now we call it legacy workflows, because now we have another candidate, which is Power Automate, that is basically going to take the position of this workflow, and maybe in future this legacy workflow will be completely gone from this Dynamics 365 application. We have custom actions. This is part of the process here. We can design that, custom actions depending on that. If you want to build your own custom event, you can design it here. But then you need to write the code, or you can call it from the workflows, or you can call it from the JavaScript, or you can also register your custom plugin on that. Okay, and which can fire on this custom events. Flow Power Automate. Now we call it Power Automate. It allows you. It makes life of I will say that business user or the citizen developer very easy. That okay. Earlier for the thing we have to write the code, but now that is just a matter of couple of minutes or couple of hours or couple of days. But earlier we have like no point of couple of days, like couple of minutes, I will say, like but earlier we used to write very long line of code, hundreds of line of code to accomplish those kind of requirement. But here it's very easy. Okay, I will show you in the demo, and we'll see some of the demo that will show you that earlier how much code we used to write for those type of things. Now plugin and custom workflow. So we have three mainly options here that we write on the pre-operation, platform operation. We cannot write anything, and post operation, that is basically the once the data is stored in the CRM DB, then we can execute our logic on that. So we can write our custom logic on the fly, and if there is any custom requirement on the pre-operation. So for example, there are two category on the pre-operation actually. We have the pre-validation, okay, and the pre-operation. So pre-validation is something when the security checks is not yet done. Okay, in the pre-operation the security checks are already done, but the data is not stored into the CRM DB. So if you want to perform, then you can do that on that, and you can write your complex logic. So plugins are basically meant for the complex logics. Okay, which means if you are going to write the code, means there is no tool available out of the box which can help you. Okay, which can solve your particular problem. That's why you are going to write the code. Okay, and that required developer skills. A business user cannot write it. A citizen developer cannot write it. Okay, a functional consultant cannot write it. You have to know that code, only then you can write the set of plugins. You can create a different type of plugin, so you can have synchronous or asynchronous plugin, which depending on that what type of plugin you are writing, that can run as a part of the transactions. If you are writing the synchronous plugin, that will run as a part of transaction, but if you are writing asynchronous, that will be running outside the transactions. Okay, now we know that the plugin and custom workflow is that we get some requirement, we will write the code, but there is a very big limitation here that whatever code you will write here, that should be so fast that it should execute your whatever problem that you are going to solve, that should be done under the 2 minute limit. Okay, if it will go beyond the 2 minute, it will throw timeout. Okay, some people have this kind of understanding that okay, no, this 2 minute timeout is just for the plugins. No, that is also for the custom workflow as well. If whatever custom you are writing, whether it's a plugin or custom workflow, that will come under this condition of 2 minute. Okay, you cannot write such a workflow that will go beyond this 2 minute. Yes, but there are exceptions here, and that is Azure plugin. If you are writing some Azure plugin, there is no limitation for that. Okay, so that's how here that Azure comes into the picture here, and that help you to, in case of you want to run some long running job and you need to process long of hundreds of thousands of records, so you can go for the Azure plugins and you can do your processing there. Okay, that can help you to solve your problem. We have the UI extensions, like for example, this is the part of the customizations. You can easily go ahead and change your the forms, just drag and drop that fields from here, adding, removing sections, or you want to add some new tabs, so that comes into the part of that application itself. Okay, you can easily modify that. If you want to go ahead and want to modify the command buttons, you can use that. You can edit that XML yourself, or you can use the tools which is part of that community. Like for example, you can use the ribbon workbench, using that is a highly common tool that we use for when we want to do any modification for the ribbon button, right? And you can modify that sitemap. Earlier we used to use that sitemap editor, but now you know that it's part of that application. Microsoft added this feature in that if you want to modify the sitemap, you can easily do that. Now again, this can be done by the business users, the citizen developers. They can easily do that. So, okay. Now you see that when now on the we are Dynamics 365, we have lots of such a feature which is now can be done by the citizen developer, but earlier we used to require the developer for those type of things. Custom app, if you want to build any custom app, when you are saying custom app, it comes like, okay, if you are from the technical point of view, your mind will start, okay, I need to do those type of thing, I need to write so many code like that. But now we have this as a part of the Power Platform ecosystem, you can go ahead and build your custom app using the Power Platform. You can build quick canvas app, you can build your model driven app. right? You don't need to write any code. So that is all the low code, no code means. If there is some requirement, you can write your expressions, okay, but not hundred of lines that you need to write. So we have the data visualization. So as I said, we these type of capabilities is also available out of the box. But if you want to do some more, extending on this charts, you can export that definition of the chart. You can do that XML editing that can be done. So there is it support the particular schema. Based on the schema, you can modify. You can do some of the changes which cannot be done as when you are modifying the chart as a part of the CRM application. So you have to do these kind of things extension in the XML editing or XML tools that we need to do. We have this dashboards, right? That we can build that out of the box dashboards. That is very easy. But if you require any complex dashboard, so we can use that other applications, like we can use the Power BI applications. We can build the very complex dashboards there, and those complex dashboards can be bring as a part of the CRM. We have options that you need to do that system configuration where you can enable that. Okay, if you want to utilize the Power BI reports, so then you can utilize bring that report as a part of the CRM dashboard, and you can also add the BI tiles. So those will be only available when you will enable that feature from the configuration, okay, under the system settings. Reports we can use, of course. We can also use the report which are to build a very simple reports as a part of the CRM application. But if you require some complex logic that need to be written, and then you want to include 2-3 tables, so you have to write that code for that, and then you need to go ahead and you need to build your SRS reports, and using the fetch XML authoring extensions you can build your report. That is if you are writing for the cloud, right? So they can you can build those reports there in the Visual Studio. You can test and execute there, and if those are working fine, you can deploy them as a part of the CRM applications. Okay, so that is the another way that we have here for the this one. So now we discussed that we saw that how many extension points were there, right? And we saw that what are the common terms that we have: config, customize, and extend. So what do you think that who can do it, right? Mainly if you talk, we have two heroes here, right? I'm just dividing them into two category. Okay, the first one is that functional, right? Earlier in the earlier versions, this part was very less, like very less feature that was functional consultant or the business user were able to do that, but now they are equal. Okay, they can do things, they can lots of things, and they can build that application without writing the code. They can easily use the Power Platform tools and modify that or extend the capability of the Dynamics 365 apps. Okay, the second one, of course, we have the technical, but some of the things that is still require code. Okay, even though you have the tools, but some of the things we still require the code, and you have to write the code to solve those specific problems. Okay, and the technical resources, they all understand that Dynamics 365, how this application works, what are the flow, when the data is moving from which table to the what table, those kind of thing is available, understood by the technical consultant, and they can easily integrate and extend the capabilities of Dynamics 365. So they can integrate with the different applications, like they can integrate with the Azure, they can integrate with the ERP applications or any other legacy systems. So they can utilize the CRM APIs and easily do that integration with the other applications, right? So these are the two roles that you have here. But as I said, that now citizen developers can do most of the thing in the Dynamics 365 for the apps. Okay, so that's is the what I discuss wanted to discuss here. Now I will go ahead and I will show you a quick demo on that, where we will see that how easily we can have this. Just I will show you some of the example of like one example of the business rules and Power Automate and the plugin. So let me stop my PPT here and let me jump here. So this is my demo environment. Let me start with this very simple example for which a business user can do. Okay, let's see, I have already. So let's take an example that we have a requirement, okay, that when a customer record is created, at the time of the customer record, we have this requirement like, when we have this, we have a one field called relationship type. So under this, we have different options. So let's consider that we have a requirement that, okay, when the customer is selected, okay, we want to provide some information for the credit limit, okay, that some information, okay, if you are selecting this type of customer, what should be the credit limit. Okay, earlier, what if for this type of requirement you need to go with the JavaScript, you need to write the JavaScript here. But now if you are a business user, you can easily create a business rule and you can define a set of conditions here. And you can say that I'm utilizing the recommendation here that based on some set of conditions, you can just easily configure it. Okay, if the relationship type that is a customer, okay, what we want to do, we want to recommend some of the features and we want to provide some of that informations. Okay, so you created and saved and activated this business process, business rules, and now whenever you will go ahead and create this one. If I select the relationship type as a customer, you will see that we have here, and if you will click on this icon and it will show you the recommendation. Okay, so earlier we cannot think of adding this kind of information or something. If you want to build this kind of information, you have to create that custom HTML web resource or something like that, or build it and to show this kind of information only. But now just as a part of this business rules, we created it and just configured a couple of steps and we are ready on that. So it will show this recommendation. If you'll say apply, it will automatically fill up this information and that is done, right? So just a matter of quick couple of minutes and you are solved this issue without writing single line of code, right? Now this is the one example, and the other example, now we you had a earlier session for the SharePoint. So if you know that, let me go ahead here. Earlier, what we basically, when you have done the SharePoint integration, so when you will create that record, okay, that folder in the SharePoint is not created. Okay, unless you will go ahead and you will select the documents. Whenever you will click on this, at that time that folder will be created for you, right? So that is the default behavior of this. So let me actually do one thing quickly here. Okay, so just I'm going to off my flows here. Okay, perfect. So now here, let's go ahead, and this is the SharePoint site that I have integrated here. Now I'm going to create new account. Okay, and I set SharePoint folder. Okay, and I saved it. And if I go here and let me refresh this, you see that we don't have anything here with that name of this account, right? But now, as soon as if I go here and go to the document here, this grid will be opening. Okay, let's say I'm not going to upload anything, but if you go to the SharePoint and if you will refresh it, you should see the folder for the account. Okay, so we see here SharePoint folder document is created for us. Okay, so when we click it, so there is no document for us. So this is the out of the box integration that is working, and there is a logic that is the part of the CRM platform here, which is building this folder for us, right? Now, but let's say we have a requirement that whenever, as soon as this, a customer record is created, we want to generate that folder for us. Okay, and on the top of that, let's say we have some specific structure on that account, under that account, that when this account folder is created, we want to create subfolders. Okay, maybe for the project, maybe for the documentation, maybe for the budgeting, for whatever region. Let's say we want to create subfolders. Okay, and now before that flow, can you think of doing somehow that without writing the code? No, right? If you want to do that kind of thing, you have to write lots of codes to you need to handle everything like security and everything, codes and API, the SharePoint API, CRM API. There are lots of code you have to write it. Okay, but now I have created a simple flow to extending the capability of CRM, which is a part of this 365 CRM Power Platform. So I have created this, and now I'm going to enable it. So let me have let's see a quick look on that. So I have simple these 4 steps in a high level. So I have selected one trigger here that whenever a record is created, okay, whenever row is added to that account table, I want to capture it. Okay, and I want to capture it, and I have here is this is I have here one variable that I have defined, because while creating the folder into the SharePoint, it used a specific format. You see that there is no dash. Okay, so it uses a specific format. So I need to do that formula here, and I need to use that expression. I need to change it to the uppercase and need to remove this slash from here, the account GUID. Okay, and when you have that, you see that we have this this parent site. Okay, we can check that if that what is the parent site for that account. We have the document location, so we can get that parent site from here. And then once we have the parent site, we can go ahead and create the document location for the new account which we are going to create from here. So it will go ahead and create the document location record into Dynamics 365 customer engagement first. After that, we need to do the same thing, and we need to go ahead and create the folder into the SharePoint. Okay, so we selected our SharePoint site. We selected that library, the folder, the top library that we have is the account. Okay, under that account, what with the folder path we want to use? We want to use the simply account name and the GUID. Okay, and we are done. Once this is done, I'm creating a subfolder under that. Sorry, what is going on? Hello. Oh, how can let me reshare it. Yeah, I'm not sure how it's stopped. Okay, so now I'm creating a subfolder under that. So I have that the folder is created, under that I'm creating the project document. Okay, so this is what I'm doing, and now let's go ahead and let me I have enabled it. So this is now on. Now if I will go ahead and if I'll create a new one. And now I have created this account. I'm not going here, and if we'll go into the SharePoint, I should have this folder created for me. Of course, it will done when this flow will run. Account with the subfolder. So it created the folder for me. Under that, I have the project document subfolder created for me. Okay, so this is how you saw like how easily I have created that flow, and easily I have created this SharePoint integration, and I'm creating the structure based on my requirement. Okay, So that's there. Now let me show you the another flow. This is another flow that I'm going to on it here. Now let's take an example that in that account you are uploading some document, okay, and you want to transfer that document from this location to the SharePoint. So I'm going to add some document here. Let's take an example. I'm saying document. Okay, so I'm clicking here, add note. So you see that we have the document created here. We have the document attached here. Let me go ahead and check it. So this is the account document is created. Oh, okay. Sorry. This is not correct. Now let me do one thing actually. Let me delete it and recreate another one. Okay, so I'll just edit it here. Now this will trigger my flow and it will automatically transfer this nodes here. Now if you go here and if you refresh it, this is gone from here. Okay, so now if you go here on that account, we have the document automatically transferred from the customer engagement app to the SharePoint. Okay, so that's again I have done through this flow. Okay, no code, just the configuration, just the steps that you need to do. So you added some step here and the note is created. You are getting that regarding account details and you are doing the same thing here, changing that URL and the GUID of that. Once we have that, we are creating the file into the SharePoint and then we are finally deleting the data from the notes. Okay, so how easily you see that I can simply transfer my notes attachment to the SharePoint very easily from the using the flow. Okay, but now again the last thing that I want to show is the quick very simple example here for the this one. Let's take an example here. So I have one example here. This one. Okay, so I have written one plugin. Let's say we have a requirement that if we are while creating that customer, we have this account number that is we are getting from somewhere, and this we need to validate that customer should not be able to enter any of the duplicate detail here. Okay, and I'm writing this one to one here which is already used in some of that other account record. So it will show me this error and this will say that this account number is already present into the other system. So this is done by the plugin. Okay, for this kind of requirement, yes, of course we have the document duplicate detection available, but that allow you to again user can simply save it and it will allow you to save the duplicate records, right? You can also use the JavaScript, but the JavaScript will only work when you are using the CRM application. Okay, but when you have the plugin, it will always work whether you are integrating with the from the any other application and writing the code to create account record, or you are creating from the UI that will run. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you, that extensibility options and the customization option for us that is available as a part of the Dynamics 365 platform. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me. Otherwise, you can always contact me with these different channels here.
Thank you once again, Mahender, for your presentation, as well as we have shared information about the 35% discount off your book, Implementing Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement, as well. Mahender, one ask is, could you please share your contact details in the chat window as well so people can connect with you?
Yeah, sure. I will do so.
Excellent. So for anyone who wants the book that Mahender's written, on implementing Dynamics 365 customer engagement, you can get 35% discount. I have shared the discount code and link in the chat window below.
Okay.
Once again, thank you, Mahender, for joining us today. It's a great pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I see there is one question quickly, but I will answer this offline. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
please. Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Bye.
much. Bye.
So that was Mahender Pal. I know he's a very